What's up, weirdos? Those who watch my channel are well aware of my love for the weird and spooky, so when I heard of a cosmic horror MMO full of creepy monster designs and survival elements, I couldn't wait to check it out for myself. Thankfully, the folks over at Starry Studio were happy to send me a key for the alpha test, and now I'm here to share my experience with this fascinating and addicting game that brought back my long-lost love of MMOs. Pack your guns and prepare your psychic birds. It's time to step into the apocalyptic world of Once Human. Before we begin, remember to hit that like button if you enjoy the video and subscribe for all things weird and spooky. This is a small channel, so every person makes a huge difference in my hunt for the eldritch god known as the YouTube algorithm. First off, what exactly is Once Human? While being an MMO at its core, Once Human takes the main elements of survival and crafting games and mashes them into a cosmic horror package. Essentially, from my experience, this is more like two different games that work together as one. On the one hand, there's the open world shooting and looting gameplay filled with horrifying monsters and all kinds of crazy quests, while on the other, there's cozy base building gameplay that sees you cutting down trees and mining rocks to build up a chaotic home in this broken world. While we're looking at this footage, I wanted to give a quick aside that, while my computer specs are pretty powerful, I still experienced frame rate issues while streaming and recording the game due to the current alpha's heavy CPU usage. Hopefully this will be ironed out in future tests, seeing as the game was still in its early alpha phase at the time of recording. Back to the gameplay itself, the world is filled with things to do, from random events to dungeons to full-on boss fights, and everything you do in your exploration rewards you with materials used to build up your makeshift home, which, in turn, lets you craft even stronger gear to take back out into the world. This base building content is also full of its own progression systems, involving creating spaces for your own little pets, and defending your base to harvest precious resources. I can honestly say that I had a wonderful time with both sides of this game, and both systems are made even better with the addition of Once Human's MMO elements. Seamless multiplayer is crucial to get right in an MMO, especially for people like me who have no friends to play games like this with. So I'm happy to say that I got to enjoy a lot of the social aspects without even going out of my way in regular gameplay. Anyone can see and talk to each other in the open world. Other people's homes are scattered all over the place. Random events and monster-populated areas encourage people to work together even if they've never met before. A grouping and clan system allows for people to adventure in groups and even build bases together. I felt connected to the other people in my server with these systems without being overwhelmed or having gameplay interrupted. Now, let's get into what really makes this game shine above similar titles in the genre: the weirdness. With Once Human's cosmic horror focus, there are practically no limits on the creativity that can be poured into the title, and thankfully, I've already seen a lot of this creative liberty being utilized in the alpha test. Why settle for a basic shooter MMO when you could have sentient houses, giant playrooms, monster dance parties, and so much more? While the main story itself takes a more serious approach to the world, the side content is full of brilliantly weird ideas that use Once Human's broken down reality to surprise players around every corner. Alongside this, the monster designs are wildly varied from each other and feel so much better to discover for me than the typical fantasy creatures in other MMOs, not that there's anything wrong with those designs either. Even the game's frantic tutorial is throwing its own take on Siren Head at you to set the bar for what you'll expect later on. Stepping away from the main gameplay elements, there's one especially interesting aspect of Once Human that really enhanced the open world for me, and that's the movement. While the walking and climbing aren't that different from a lot of other open world games, the inclusion of gliding mechanics, along with a personal upgradable motorcycle, made it feel more like I was playing a single-player game, simply due to the fact that most other MMOs are extremely limiting on the freedom of movement for players. Motorcycles allow for quick and convenient travel across the broken planet, and the inclusion of mechanics geared around maintaining and upgrading your vehicle give it a much more personal feeling, as opposed to selecting from a large list of cosmetically different but mechanically identical mounts. Combined with the ability to completely personalize your home base and the encouragement to explore every little bit of this giant world, Once Human feels less like someone else's world you're trying to save, and more of a personal world you're living in, along with the other players in your server. Even with all of this praise, the game is obviously not perfect. Boss battles can be a pain to group up for if nobody in the server is interested in helping. The performance is taxing on most computer setups. There are the usual cases of visual glitches or clipping out of the world on occasion, which can thankfully be fixed with the press of a button, and connection issues can really damage progress depending on what you're doing, but none of these things felt too prevalent to decrease my overall enjoyment of the game. Seeing as this is an alpha test, these kinds of errors are to be expected. I just feel like it's important to note that a lot of these things are still being worked on. Overall, I came out of this first test with a very positive impression, and couldn't pull myself away from the beginning down to its final day. Even now, I'm impatiently waiting for April's test to start so that I can dive back into this weird world, which is a lot to say for someone who usually gets burnt out of MMOs very quickly. Once Human is an amalgamation of so many ideas, and so far, the execution is very promising. I'd definitely keep this title on your radar even if standard MMOs aren't your thing. There's variety for all kinds of players, and Once Human is set on standing out from the rest. As always, thank you for watching. Again, please like and subscribe to get more weird in your life. Do you know any weird or spooky games I should cover? Any other general comments or questions? I'm always active in the comments section on my videos, plus we've got a chaotic Discord channel and live streams every weekend. Links to these and more are down in the description below. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one.